Hello and welcome to Living Proof, the Isaac Newton Institute podcast. My name is Sarah Khan, and in today's episode, I will be speaking to Dr. Mike Ogiugo, a member of the I&I Ramanujan Fellowship Scheme. Dr. Mike will be talking to us about his experience of the fellowship and how it contributed to his professional development. We hope you enjoy the episode. So thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Ogiugo. It's a pleasure to have you here. Why don't you start off by giving us your introduction, where you're from, and what is the focus of your research?
My name is Mike Ekwe from Nigeria. I lecture at the Yaba College of Technology, Lagos, and the Department of Mathematics. My background is in algebra. My first degree was more of applied mathematics. My MSc, I started working on pure mathematics, where I did a research work on commutative algebra, and I went further for my MSc and PhD, where I work on group theory and generalization on 4C group theory. So my present research area is on the classification of 4C group theory of finite group.
Wonderful. So talking about the Ramanujan fellowships, how did you first learn about them and what sort of encouraged you to apply for them?
The Ramanujan fellowship during the COVID, I was following up the seminars, and I subscribed to the monthly bulletin. So last year during June, I saw in the bulletin of the Harvard, talked to one of the organizers of the program on the history of modern mathematics. I want to use this fellowship. I saw it on the bulletin, and he told me no problem, that I should go ahead to apply. So that's how I applied. I was considered for the fellowship.
Wonderful. So you've been with us since the beginning of April, and how has your experience been overall here with the I&I? Any highlights that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, I really enjoyed. When I came, I decided to work on a research problem on the historical development for C group theory, the chronicle perspective. I really want to thank the organizer, Chris, who have helped me to review the work I've done so far on it. In fact, surprisingly, I've even dropped the preprint on the Institute website on part of the work I've done. Really, I worked on two projects, and one of them is ongoing. That's on an institutional project. It's about, in Nigeria, we don't really have more of the history of mathematics. I think in the mathematics department, and we are trying to look at the project on I've written a draft on it. It's on the development of mathematics in Nigeria and historical perspective.
Right.
So I have discovered that Nigeria got the independence in 1960, and my own university, where I did my PhD, the University of Ibadan, is the primary university in Nigeria. It was founded in 1948, and we have the oldest department of mathematics. And so it's interesting for me that when I get back home, I will go back and look at some of the archive we have there, so that the work on the history of the development of mathematics, we can take it to the next step.
Wonderful.
So I worked on two projects on the 4C group theory. You may ask me, why am I interested in 4C group theory? It's like in mathematics, we are keen with set theory. And the set theory just talks about element in a set, element that is not a set. But really, the boundary of the concept of set theory does not really solve some real-life problems. So that's why 4C set is like a generalization of the classical set theory.
Interesting.
So I do the history is not too long
Mm-hmm.
because Zeda founded the set in 1965. So
Right.
what I did was to look at from 1965 till date on the development of Fosse group
Mm-hmm.
theory.
Wonderful. That's very interesting. So you've been participating in the Modern History of Mathematics program here at INI as part of the fellowship. How do you think it has contributed to your research and professional development?
Yes, it has opened me to an historical perspective of mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
If I really that why I was keen of applying because really I teach mathematics, but I've never really been open to the history
Yeah.
of. So
Yeah.
by coming to the workshop, the program have exposed me to because when you know history, it's like you know where you are coming from.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to comprehend where you are, and you can also predict the future. So really, I've really been impacted. In fact, the work I did, talking with the historian, I discovered that I am a mathematician. I meant historian.
Yeah.
I could see that the research approach from mathematics is different from the historian.
Right.
Because when I told them of what I'm working on, they were keen to ask me, what is the historian argument?
Right.
And we mathematics, we
Yeah.
don't keen with argument. We want to see the research problem.
Yeah.
We want to see what people have worked on. We want to see how we apply theory we know to prove it. So really I've seen how to approach research problem in an historical way.
Yeah.
And two, I've seen that attending a program like this will improve my method of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Because it may surprise you, I teach group theory, but there are things I never knew in group theory.
Wow.
Historians, the people, the argument, and so it will improve my method teaching.
Wonderful.
And I will encourage that mathematicians like me to learn something about the history of mathematics.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. I think history really gives you a different perspective to, any subject, whether it's mathematics or something else. So I'm glad that you learned that about your teaching method. So tell me, in what specific ways do you think the financial support that you got out of the Ramanujan Fellowship made it possible for you to attend the INI program?
Yes, because I came to the program because I was fully funded.
Yeah.
I never got any funding from my institution back at home. So the fellowship covered my traveling and living expenses,
Yeah.
their accommodation. So really, because I was funded, I was able to participate in the program. It's really a privilege to be part of the fellowship.
So what advice would you give to your fellow mathematicians, especially from low and middle income countries, who might be thinking to apply for this fellowship scheme?
Yes, I will encourage them to apply. Personally, I was not aware, and I think truly, maybe some of them are not aware.
Yeah.
And because I follow up on the Institute monthly publication,
Yeah.
I saw the advert. So I will encourage my fellow mathematicians to learn to subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Wonderful. I really hope that somebody would, be listening to this podcast and they would be encouraged to apply for the fellowship as well. So thank you once again, Dr. Mike, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope, this podcast will be really useful for anybody who would be looking to attend such a program here at INI. Thank you for listening, everyone, and see you next time.